Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how I made these beautiful Firefly jars. They are old candle jars that I've repurposed and upcycled to make some lovely little lanterns to go on our table in the summer when we're having barbecues or having friends round for drinks and stuff. Unfortunately, it's typical British summertime today and it's pouring with rain, so I've come into the darkest space I've got in the house to show them to you. I'm really pleased with how they've turned out and I hope that you will give this project a go. So let's jump straight into designing these jars. So the jars that I'm going to be using today for my Firefly jars are these. They are basically just old Yankee Candle jars, and when I first finish off my candle I like to clean it out and then I just pop it in the dishwasher and it's nice and clean. I need to get this label off the bottom, it's still a bit wet, so I'm not going to do that right now. I'll probably do that later on. Okay, so when the labels come off, sometimes if you are a bit unlucky you'll get this sticky residue left on there, which is no good. We don't want that to be on display in our Firefly jar. So the best thing to use just to get rid of that is just some nail polish remover or acetone. This is gel polish remover, so it is 99% acetone, and just on a cotton bud or a cotton pad, this will work brilliantly. Just give it a good scrub and all of this sticky will come off. I've just actually done that with the medium one that I'm using today. So I'm now going to measure my space so that my design will work. And I know already that these are 30.5 centimetres in circumference. And I just need to work out my usable space on here. So I don't want my design to go on this bent part or on this curved part either. So I think my usable space realistically is about 6 centimetres in height, maybe a little bit less than that. That is what I'm going to size my design to be in Design Space. So I'm just going to briefly share with you how I made my design using Design Space, and all I've done is just go to my images button in Cricut Design Space and I'm just searched for the things that I wanted to include in my Firefly jar. So I like the fairies and I really fancied putting some fairies together, and all I did was just grab some fairies. So I liked this one here and I thought because I like her I'm probably going to like other elements that are available in this series. So to click on if you click on the eye just there, and then it shows you the number of that particular image. So if you like this image but you can't find it, you could always pause now and write down this number, and then you can type it into the search bar at the top and that number will come up. And then to look at other images that are similar to this in the same series, you just click on the View Image Set button, and then that brings up everything that is available in this series. So these two fairies are actually tooth fairies, but I quite like them just generally. So I like her and I like the one at the top. I'm just going to shrink them down just by dragging them up from the right hand corner. If I click off, then there will be two separate fairies. So the other thing I wanted to do was have some grass. Oh, hang on, I need to go back to image because I'm still in image sets. So let's just type in grass again. And then I just wanted to use a free grass. So the one that I used was this one here, and I just got rid of the dark green grass at the back and I used the front grass here. But for this one I'm going to use this one with the little flowers on it. So I'm going to choose that one, and that's going to be my bottom layer of my jar. We could use the sizing at the top as well if we wanted to. I'm just going to stretch it a little bit upwards so that it's now 6 centimetres tall. Let's zoom back in. There we go. Okay, put that up the top with our fairies. Okay, right, that's cool. Then I'm going to use some stars. So I want some stars. I want some that are going to be quite small. So I'm going to go this one. This is nice. and this is quite in keeping with my design. So I am going to shrink those down again and then pop those in the top, and then I'm going to use this handle here, which is rotate, and I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. Okay, that is fab. Okay, so I'm going to make everything black, just like so. Now what I'm going to do is grab myself a square, and I'm going to make a template with my square. So I want my square to be, so it's 15 by 5. We could actually stretch it to 6. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this is the size of our jar. So now we need to shrink this down. So let's shrink it down. We could stretch it out if it doesn't distort us too much. Let's do that. That's awesome. Okay, so that's roughly the size that we are constrained to right now. Okay, so let's get rid of the box, and there is our fairy design. I'm using a standard grip Cricut mat today. This one actually isn't very sticky, it's been used quite a few times, so I'm going to be using the top right corner of it today for this design. So I'm just going to put that to one side just while I cut out my piece of vinyl. Today I'm using just a black regular vinyl. This is the tape 440. It comes on a roll like this. I get this from MDP Supplies. Not sure if it's permanent. I need to check that actually and see. So my design that I have settled on is 14.261 centimetres wide by 5.25 centimetres in length. So I love the back of this vinyl because it gives you a grid to work to. So let's just cut that off on that straight side. Okay. Let's just roll that back up. I love snap bands for keeping your vinyl rolled up. Okay, so there's my little piece of vinyl. Now I know that this is going to cut very small, it's going to be very intricate, and I think the machine may struggle to do it. So I'm not going to use the regular vinyl setting that I would normally use. I'm going to use the washi sheet setting, and if you've not used washi sheet setting before, it just uses a little bit less pressure, I believe, and is a little bit more delicate when you're making a design that's got lots of intricate pieces like the fairy's wings, for instance. So here we are at the machine. I'm using a Cricut Maker today with the fine point blade. As you can see, the machine's ready to go. The flashing double-ended arrow is already flashing and waiting for us. So I'm going to insert my mat. So just follow the guides on the machine, the two plastic guides just here, 1 and 2, and then just press the button to insert your mat. I have put my star wheels back onto the right places because I do think that that helps with bringing in the material nice and smoothly. So now the Cricut C is flashing, so we're ready to go. Let's hit that button and the machine will detect the tool and it will start the cut. Okay, the cut has finished, so now is the moment of truth. Let's see if this has cut properly. So I'm just going to get a weeding tool and I'm just going to lift up the bottom corner of that, and as you can see it's cut nicely. So let's eject that. Okay, we have lost a couple of little bits in the machine, and they are the little tiny stars that surround the fairies. It doesn't matter too much but you can definitely see that they are missing. With such a small intricate design, unfortunately that is bound to happen. Okay, so I'm ready to weed this now, and because the fairies are so small, they are going to be difficult to weed. I'm going to try, and if they start to lift, or if I don't think that the weeding is going to come out very accurate, I'm going to do it in a different way. So let's get a small weeding tool and let's lift up this corner. Let's see. Okay, so we just need to be really delicate with it, and it is lifting up in places. Let's see if we can get this off without damaging it. I don't think we're going to be able to. So let's see if we can get that back down. Ugh. So one of my flowers has lifted up and moved. I'm going to try again, just gently pulling it back at a 90-degree angle. Just got to be really careful that I don't get any vinyl stuck back to my design. So I'm going to cut that off there as I go along. Okay, so we can see the stars are stuck in the vinyl. Okay, it's not going to work. So let's flip this over, and I'm going to use a reverse weeding technique that I like to use for things like this. So as you can see, she's actually lost a leg, which is a bit annoying. Her leg will be in here somewhere. I don't think I'll be able to find her leg. She's a one-legged fairy. Never mind, but it doesn't matter. She'll be individual, won't she? Okay, so let's pop this on. I'm going to turn this round because I want to get the straight edge of my transfer paper right up against the straight edge of my design. So this will help me to line it up when it's on my jar. So I've got my transfer paper right up against the edge of my design just there. Okay, and I'm going to just give that a little bray down, and I'm using a soft squeegee for this. So now I'm going to get my knife and cut out around my transfer paper, around the top of the design. So now my design is attached to my transfer paper with the unweeded section as well. Okay, so now we want to peel off the backing paper. Okay, nothing is stuck to the backing paper, so that's good. Okay, so now we want to get our jar, and we're going to apply the design to the jar. Let's just get a couple of rulers, and I'll just pop those there just to stop my jar from moving. And I have cleaned this obviously with the acetone, so I don't really need to clean it again. So now I just need to make sure that I've got my design nice and straight on there. And I'm just going to lay it down really flat, and I'm going to start pressing down from the middle, and I just work my way outwards. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now you can use your transfer paper and just pull the transfer paper off. We're not expecting any of the design to come off with the transfer paper again, so this is all just application at this point. Okay, there we go. So I can put this piece of transfer paper back onto the backing paper, and I'll probably be able to use that again for a small design on something else. So now we need to take off the section that we would ordinarily weed. So what I'm going to do is flip over to the overhead camera so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here we are then. this is our jar, and what I'm going to do is just very carefully lift up the corner of the bit that we are going to be weeding. And what you're going to want to do is get it at a 90-degree angle, pulling back on itself, so literally get it, and can you see we're going to fold it over, okay, and then carefully pull it back. If you need to, you can use a weeding tool just to give you a little bit of a helping hand, because some bits may stick and tear. Okay. There we go. Now just lifting a bit where there is a flower, and I can just pull that out. There's going to be the odd bit that you'll need to weed as normal as well. Just keep very gently lifting. Okay, okay. Put that whole section up now. Just keep pulling back. Here comes a fairy. Hopefully this one's got 2 legs. Oh. Yep, there's her other leg coming, look. So what I'm going to do is just pull that off to the very end. And then I'm going to come back on myself, making sure that I keep all of this in my fingers so that I'm not going to accidentally stick it back onto my fairy. There we go. Now I've just got a few bits down here that I need to weed as normal, so that needs to come out of there. You can see my fairy is completely intact, even though she's really delicate and her legs are not attached to her body, so they are 2 really thin pieces of vinyl that have cut, and the same with her arms and her wings, compared to our poor little fairy this side who's lost a leg when we tried to use traditional weeding method. But I like the way she looks. She's very individual and I love that. There's a bit of weeding here that I need to do as well, so I'm just going to lift that up and pull it back. There we go. These are the Firefly lights that I'm using today, and I bought these on Amazon as a 10-pack. They're quite bright when the lights aren't on them, and what I'm going to do is just pop them into my jar. I'll pop up on the screen for you which ones it is that I am using. Just pop them into the jar, and then we need to attach our cork to the lid of our jar. So I've just cleaned this out with some acetone. You can use rubbing alcohol as well if that's what you've got on hand. And I'm going to grab a couple of foam pads just here. Okay, so I'm going to put them on the top and the bottom of the actual cork there, because when I've put them in the middle before, there's a recess in this lid and it doesn't actually make contact very easily with the glass and the cork. So just put them on the corner like that. This is why I really love these Yankee jars, because you can hide your bits and pieces that you're using to make your design in the top of the jar, and it's not that noticeable, which is good. So let's turn it on, pop the lid on our jar, and there we have our beautiful Firefly jar. Perfect for summer nights in the garden and enjoying a barbecue or two. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you will try making these Firefly jars for your own garden this year. They are a lovely addition to the table and a real talking point as well. You of course don't have to use fairies on them if you don't want to. So thanks for watching, and all that's left to be said is have a great week, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye!